Live Niagara. We are your hosts, Angela Brooks and Janice Carter, helping businesses and communities not just survive, but thrive during COVID.
Today, we have Tim Housser with Panda Pay as our guest, and he's going to explain to us what Panda Pay does and how COVID is affecting that business and how he can help other businesses in Niagara keep more money in their pockets. So we're really excited. Thank you, Tim, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me here, Janice and Angela. I appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, our pleasure. First of all, let's start with, I know you're very community oriented. You spend a lot of time working with charities such as the Steve Ludzik Foundation and the No for Nodes and coaching in our community. Tell us a little bit about your community work and how you're involved in those charities.
So I'll go with the first one, that the Steve Ludzik Foundation. We started that just over 10 years ago. So I started that with Steve and Mary Ann Ludzik, and there were a few other people, Sue Danachuk, on the committee when we first started. And since then, once we got the charity registered, I became one of the directors on a founding member and a director on the charity. So help oversee what goes on and, how we facilitate funds and everything else, just kind of look from the outside. And, we've got an executive director, but it's always good if you have, I like to think that I'm a very professional person in business and I can help oversee lots of things and, give good advice and, not just good advice from work experience and then good advice from the gut out, so if if the gut instincts are right, that you're pretty good at what you're doing. And if something smells bad, then you better look and check and see what's going on. So, but that's been going well. We have a clinic up at the Hotel du Shaver Hospital, and it's known as the Steve Ludzik Foundation. It's the only one of its kind. It has multiple disciplinaries for treatment, and people go in there for an 8-week program. When we first started it, it probably only was like part of the season, like maybe 3-4 months out of the year. And now it's 12 months of the year. Like we've raised that amount of money. We have enough money in the bank to keep it going for at least 2 years ahead of time. So
Nice.
That if anything filters, and we're always trying to raise money. Like right now we're doing a t-shirt, Ludzi Strong event on April 11th, on Sunday, April 11th, they're lighting, it's Ludzi Day, and it's all across, because it's Parkinson's month in the month of April. And on April 11th, I'll be down at the falls with my shirt, my red shorts on, and at 9:45 at night, we'll do a photo shoot. And, just anybody who wants to come down is welcome to come that night and wear their Ludzi Strong t-shirt.
Nice.
Just to show support. So that's the big charity that I've been heavily involved in. I was involved with stuff always in my whole career. So, everything from, I'm trying to think of all the things that out there, there's so many groups out there that get involved. I can't think of brain hemorrhage here for a minute, kind of like what Angela had at the very beginning. And then I'm on the Know Your Nodes committee for the finance to help them oversee that. I just, want to help out whenever I can. And then the other charity I'm involved with, which I've been probably the last 7 or 8 years, has been the Light of Day concert series, where we do we used to do physical concerts.
Mm-hmm.
We raise money for Parkinson's and cancer. And this past year we had to cancel. We had Tim Hicks booked at the Meridian Center in St. Catharines, right?
Oh no.
So a couple years back we did a Blue Rodeo, and
Nice.
and that was our first. Yeah. So you know what? It's fun. It's I've traveled with some amazing musicians across the Toronto, Kingston, and stuff, things you never think to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to to be with somebody like John Cafferty from the Beaver Brown Band, hung out with some really cool guys, and so it's
very creative now with all of our charities and stuff, and how like all the live events, all the things that we do that would normally raise money. I don't think it's easy to see the direct impacts that things are happening, but I don't think we realize that our community has been so directly impacted into the charities, to the fact, look at the YMCA, what I mean? Like all of these charities are, things that are funded, and they fund other things. Like sometimes you collect money as one charity, but that charity also helps other charities, and they work together. So it's it's kind of like a domino effect. So the musicians are really suffering too. But are you going to be doing it online this year? Because I know that some of the musicians are doing some of them online and still being able to do it. Are you guys doing that?
We did the Light of Day series. We did it back in February. I can't remember the exact date, but we did an online concert series for 2 days, and
Nice.
we raised just under $20,000, and that gets split between the Cancer Clinic and the Steve Logic, the Walker Cancer Clinic in Thorold, and the Steve Logic Foundation. So those are, when you bring in even that small amount of money, whether it's $7,000 to that charity and $7,000 to the other one, that's a huge impact for them, especially in these trying times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was given. There was people all across the world that came on and seen it, and that was our first attempt to an online event, and it was outstanding. It really was. They've got it all recorded, and I know people can get in and watch it once in a while. They can buy it for $20, and it's music 3 hours a night from, the entertainment list was unbelievable. So, and it was fun to see how good those people are, musicians. They wanted to give their time. They were happy to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Get it out of the goodness of their heart at the end of the day.
Nice.
They're missing the engagement and the interaction as well, right? Like they're missing all of that. And speaking of being like really creative, we now have to take payments different. We now have to, we have to do other things, like even, as a small business, whether you're starting a new business, because we've had to be creative in how we're bringing in money into our household, because the bars are closed, so the casinos are closed. Like a major portion of Niagara, there are a lot of people relied on the casinos for income. So now they're being more creative. We're seeing a lot of crafty people out there, people that are finding other ways to get what they call a side hustle. Some of them are turning their side hustles into full-time businesses, and taking payments is really important. So that's why I'm so excited that you're here, Tim, because I know that a lot of these people are used to working for other people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have all the hats that maybe you, me, Janice have. So like we have the hats of being, and sometimes I don't wear my hats too well. I need other people like an accountants and et cetera to help me. So when it comes to learning about how to take payments and how to operate, I think that having you on the show to really kind of explain, there's a lot of people out there that don't realize the ins and outs of it, and they might just fall into the wrong system, not even know how to do it, and just rely on one particular thing when they could be doing other things to save them money, avoid expenses that would normally come off the top, and maybe even deteriorate clients from using their services, because the clients are the ones that get the fees. So let's talk about that a little bit. How has COVID changed the receiving of payments and whatnot? What are some of the new challenges that are coming about?
Well, the new challenges for people who start or maybe existing in business or even starting up have been getting to either virtual terminals or e-commerce accounts. So an e-commerce account is for them to be able to pay online, and a virtual terminal is so they don't have to go through all the expensive costs, and they can have either an iPad or they can have the payment right on their phone. There are other companies out there that have been doing that for a long time, but there's always a threshold, like a break-even point. So, I mean, I always like people to think, Theodore Roosevelt had a great quote, and I like to think this way as I work every day. People don't care how much you know until they know you care. Mm-hmm. And I guess what I try and tell people is that I'm not here to just to take your business. I'll help you explain. Sometimes I'll tell people, listen, I'm not the right choice for you right now, even though I can get it down to as low as $30 a month. They may not have enough volume, like, they may be doing $400 or $500, and I'll say, go start with Square. Mm-hmm. And you hit the threshold of $1,200 a month, then come talk to me, because there is that you've hit the break even, right? And I try and explain things. Yeah, I want people to understand, and I would never, ever in my lifetime mislead anybody on anything. I've been in business my whole life. I operate with integrity and honesty. I've had great success. So I think the world's too small. You try and screw one person here, it'll get out somewhere else. So you have to know that you're always on your best behavior always.
And that's something that I've always respected about you, Tim, is every time, we're in a networking meeting, or every time we do business together, I find that everything you do is on the up and up, and you're always more concerned about helping people versus putting money in your pocket. So I think that it's amazing that you work on that platform, especially in the industry that you're in, because merchant services, I believe, can be a very difficult industry to navigate, to find, like the credit card companies are just, they nickel and dime you and nickel and dime you. And you end up, your merchant services can get so expensive with, well, there's a 2.5% fee here, but then there's a 3% fee over there. And don't forget, we're taking 6% over here. And then all of a sudden, 10% of your payments are gone.
And not understanding them can make the difference in your profit margin too. So if I go in and being successful, so I need my profit to grow my business. Mm-hmm. So I can't expand without good profit. And we already go into it a lot of the times. We go into our businesses going, I really love what I do, so we don't charge enough. We, already, that's already there, right? We don't want to rip anybody off. We undervalue what we have to give, because we might not understand the ease that we're the joy we're giving somebody, or the relief, challenge that we're solving, or the relief, or etc. Right? Yeah. So we don't put value on that, and we don't believe in our own value, so we have a hard time asking. So then when we add on to the hidden costs like merchant accounts, mm-hmm. and if the industry is not keeping that in mind when they set the prices, new businesses come in and they set the prices to what other people in the industry are doing, and it's a lot of times they'll be following the wrong people. They'll be following the industry, even though the industry is set too low, because they're not taking into consideration merchant accounts. When I first started my business 20 years ago, it was really hard to do, and I was doing web design and graphic design at that time, and it was really difficult to find a merchant account to do online. This was like when PayPal was very new. Mm-hmm. It was the solutions out there were very slim. You had to go directly to the merchant accounts. Like, there wasn't programs like Tim's program out there, mm-hmm. that can find the right solution. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so when you're first coming out, a lot of times you don't really know what questions to ask. Mm-hmm. Like, what I want you to help us, Tim, get the right questions. Like, let's say somebody doesn't have somebody like you. Okay, what would be the questions that they would need to be asking the different programs to be able to get there, to get the perfect solution,
or to even just understand their contracts and what they're paying.
Yeah, I know we're asking hard questions, Tim. I'm sorry.
No, you know what? It's valid questions, and I think Janice made a great comment at the beginning of that part of the conversation, and you've got a great story to tell, because you've been in this business, like, you've had a business for a long time. So e-commerce accounts didn't really exist that much. They were there, but there were very few. Now it's like, mm-hmm. everybody wants an e-commerce account, right? Yeah. So the that are set there, certain fees that are already there that everybody charges. So it doesn't matter whether you're with Tim Housser at Panda Pay or you're with another competitor. Visa and MasterCard set the rates. Mm-hmm. Government regulated, they set the rates. You can't control anything beyond that. It's what happens after and all the additional fees that these guys charge. And like Janice says, it's such a bastardized business out there. And hopefully that's not too bad of a word to use here, but it's almost appalling sometimes. I met a young girl who's got a business. She's got a spa truck, and she's telling me what she was doing. And I said, I'm in this business, and I could probably, if you want me to do a low risk analysis, help you out. And she was paying hundreds of dollars a month. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt bad for her. I said, somebody misguided her, and she was just paying it and just thought it's normal. And I can come in and give you the same service, better service, because now you get to know who I am, and save her probably anywhere from $150 to $200 a month. That's a lot of money. Like, when you add that up at the end of the year. So e-commerce accounts, what we do, I have a checklist of things I send to people. Because they need somebody to help set it up on the back end. We've got people at the back end that'll help guide them if they don't have an IT person. So, but you want to I'll try and give them the direction first, and then say, ask the questions, I'll try and get you the answers. You know, there's not one fix. Some of the stuff is basic, and some of it's not so basic. It depends how elaborate. You know, I've got a person I'm working with. They own an auto parts store, so they've got an IT person setting up their whole shopping list, and you know that takes time to build that. So they've got to build that all out, and then it has to be uploaded so people can go on the website. And so when they design those things, there's certain things that they have to put on their websites in order to be compliant, right? Because they can't be compliant, they can't get payment processing, right? Or they end up going somewhere like Shopify or Stripe, and they end up paying 3 times more money by doing that, you know, because they have a huge platform. We don't have all those high costs. So that's what people need to learn, that there's other avenues out there and there's integrity at the end of the day.
Right. So if a client contacts you and says, hey, Tim, I'm not sure what I'm paying on my merchant services fees right now. You actually take a look at their statement and explain it to them in plain English so that they can understand where their money's going. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll put it right on a spreadsheet, and they can see a line by line item on an Excel spreadsheet to here's what you're paying. Here's what I'm going to charge you. There's the end result number.
Right.
So I've only been in the last 2.5 years, I've only had 2 clients where I reviewed statements and I told them they absolutely had fantastic deals. There is nothing you can do for them, but if they see anything happen down the road, let me know and I'll review it again. And then if they want to make a change, because if they're going to make a change just for the sake of changing, and there's no, you know, the benefit would be with me, but I just say, look, you know, you got a good thing going. Don't worry about it. Just keep it the way it is. So, you know, and that's good business. That would be good business to have. But at the end of the day, if I can't do something better for them, then they don't need to make the change, you know. Right. But if somebody can come in and do something better for you, then it's worth looking at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I
oh, sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Angela.
Sorry. If you're an existing business, then having you come in, do an analysis of what they're using already, looking at their monthly fees, looking at each transaction fee, looking at the ease of use, like where they use it, when they use it. There might, you know, sometimes being able to secure a client when it's hot. For example, when you're talking to a person on the phone and you're doing the close right then and there, if you can take their credit card right then and there before they have time to go back and, you know, have that buyer's remorse or anything like that when they're excited, that's when you can secure them right away. So that would be one way, instead of sending them to the website and saying, hey, you know, now go through the process, and now they're going through, now they're making the decisions, and now the doubt's coming in sometimes because maybe they had choices that they didn't know what the answers would be, that kind of thing, and they put it on hold. Just even having those kind of things now being thought of in that analysis, you might be able to help them with different solutions in those cases. Now, if somebody is a like they are just starting up a business, again, you can come in, do a report and say, okay, when are you going to use it? What's most likely? How fast are you going to go online? Is it e-commerce? And you can help them and direct them to what the best program would be based on what their pricing forecast would be in their startup. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I would do a bit of analysis for them, extract all the data, like you're saying, give me some insight, tell me where you think you're going to get to and where we're at. You know, because you can always change what you have. It's not like you're stuck with something and it's there for life, right? So when people are just starting up and they don't know, if people don't know anything and they say, gee, I don't know if I make $300, $400, $500 a month, I say, okay, if you're that low, then I just tell them to go to register with Square, because it's not a bad thing, right? Now they're going to pay, so they pay 3%, big deal. 3% on $500 is only $15, right?
Right.
But when they get to,
so where's the threshold when you start to make the difference in money? Like, when would you start thinking, like, if you start making $1,200 a month?
Yeah, because to have a virtual terminal, like you're saying, if you're on the phone with somebody, a virtual terminal can work on your phone, it can work on your PC, work on your iPad, and it's an app, right? So the app can be on multiple devices and it's one charge. Yeah. So I can charge out the cost of terminal, the PCI compliance, which is the protection so that you can't be fraudulently responsible for credit card defrauding. And your monthly statement fee comes out to like $31 a month. So that's as low, whether it's an e-commerce account or virtual terminal, that's as low as I can get it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you decide, do I physically need a terminal? Like if you said your business model is, I'm a home heating, air conditioning guy, and I'm going in and out of people's houses and I need to take a deposit. I'm just starting out. You can always start with a virtual terminal, and if the volume gets up and the guy's going like $4,000 or $5,000 a month, then we say, let's get you a wireless unit. Right. You can still keep your you can cancel the VT out, but now you're going to get a terminal. A terminal is going to cost you anywhere from $30 a month or more. So now your costs are going to go up a little bit because you still have compliance fees and you still have the statement fee. That doesn't go away. Those are standard things, right? But at least now your processing charges are a lot less, because when you have a physical terminal, you're processing with protection, because they have to tap the card or put the card in, right?
Right.
Although with our virtual terminals, Visa is almost the same as a terminal. It's that close. But MasterCard, there's such a disparity on spread on volume, like numbers. And I share the numbers with people. I explain them the differences of, here's what you get. So if somebody has a business, I've run into a couple people do this. They used to do the weekend shows, and they would buy $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on a weekend. And they would do that 3-4 times a year. Well, that's $20,000 in the business. And I'd say, and they tell me they're using Square, and I'd say, well, you really want to be with me, because even though you do that $20,000 a year, I'm going to save you 40% in your fees, automatically, right? So even though my cost will be once a month, and you might have a month or two where you don't really use it, and you still get the fee, the overall experience is going to be a lot less expensive,
right?
Whereas on Square, there's no cost. If you don't use it, it doesn't cost you anything. So that's why I say, if people are just starting out, they don't know what they're doing. I've had a couple of people start off at Square and then have come to me within the year, and I do their business now.
Right.
So, I'm not gonna mislead somebody. Listen, at the end of the day, if somebody wants to do their business with me and they want to spend the 31 times 12 is $360 a year with me, then that's what the cost of the service is. But at least they know exactly what's happening. But if they're not going to do that volume, I highly recommend just start off with Square. It's easy to get, and it'll work the same as mine. Yeah. Except if you use it for that month, you're not getting a bill.
Right. Right. Now, where are you located? Like, what service area do you manage?
I can service anywhere in Canada, coast to coast, back all the way to Vancouver. I've got clients like Toronto, Burlington, Oakville, Kitchener, Elmira. I have to make the circuit out. When the day comes, you can get back out. I can't do that stuff right now. Hopefully, that's the social media stuff with the Facebook business account. I hope it'll allow me large areas. I got clients in Vancouver. I deal anything from the small business owner up to the law firms, the breweries. Anybody who takes payment processing is a client. So it could be massage therapists, chiropractors, dentists, anybody. And
so who's your largest client?
My largest client, good question. That would be based on volume. So it's probably one of my breweries, right? Like Panda Brewer, but I've got dental offices that do some large volume too. So
nice.
But I don't necessarily look at just the volume person. I want to actually, if it's somebody's account, I can go in and I can help them. Right. And I'm working on one. They have 15 locations, and right now it looks like that they've got a pretty good package. So, listen, I'd love to have that business, but you have to be honest about the process, because the last thing you want to do is mislead somebody and they come back and say, "Wait, you didn't tell me this." I expose everything, so everything's because when their competitor raises their rates, they're going to be phoning me. Yeah, and they're going to say, "Look, you know what? I already know what you do." Right. So do you find it's amazing? Go ahead.
Do you find that some companies, merchant services companies, they kind of start you off on a lower rate and then they raise their rate over time? And how does Panda Pay compare to that? Do they do that as well?
No, that's the difference between what we do and everybody else. Like everybody else, they raise the rates every 6 months. Like right now, I can tell you, if anybody has Desjardins, Global, or First Data, or any of those competitors, you want to call me because your rates have all gone up. And there's a code of conduct that I can help cancel you out, get out of your deals, right? So those people want to pay attention to what they do. And if not, just have an assessment done. It costs you nothing to look. I don't charge to do that. I just say, you know what, if you send it to me, it might be a day or two, but I'll get to it and look at it and I'll run the analysis and then see. But you know, I've done some small hair salon places, and you know what, that $35 a month that I save them, that's their money. Yeah. To me, it's like them getting a free haircut every month.
Yeah.
What's that, Angela?
Is it a contract that they have to sign? Like if you just mentioned that you can get them out of
their contract. It's month to month.
It's a month to month with you guys. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's right.
Ours is month to month. Yeah, ours is month to month, and you know what? There's some of the people that they sign up with the competitors. They've got some large cancellation fees and stuff like that. But there's ways of sometimes getting out of that and around that, depending on how long they've had it. Mm-hmm. So some people have had their stuff for 3-4 years. They'll tell them they have a cancellation fee, but the reality is they don't. Right. But you know what? Yeah, I looked at this business when I got into it. I'm an independent owner with Panda Pay, so it's my business, and I want to grow the business. I'm not going to screw somebody so I get a bad reputation. I want people to be able to call me and say, no, you know, Tim looks after me, you know, and I tell you, here's the cost, here's the rates, here's our profit margin, tell you right up front, and there you go. And we don't change it. It stays. You know, you don't have to keep looking over your shoulder to see if somebody's charging more. And people don't pay attention to stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm doing one right now where it's a electrical company, or they do heating and air conditioning, and they're going to save almost $600 a month. Wow. The best part, I always like when they tell me, oh, I got good rates. I said, I'll bet you do. Let me look.
Then you look at. So tell us a little bit more about Panda Pay as a company. How did it get started? How long has it been in business?
It's been in business since 2014 now. 2014. Excuse me. And it started with four guys who used to be in this business. They worked for other competitors back in the day. And they seen what was going on, and they didn't like what was happening. And they thought, you know, they seen that opening, and they thought, you know what, we could go in and we could do this better. And, you know, they've done a great job. We're now the 8th largest provider in North America. We're certified by CPA Canada, so Chartered Professional Accountants of Canada. Who better can you not have on your back door as a chartered public accountant saying, we've vetted these guys. They're good at what they do. Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's getting that word out to them. They're aware of it. And, you know, I'm getting some chartered accountants who refer me to clients. And, you know, when I come back and I save them their client money, they look good because they're paying attention to their client, and the client's happy, but their accountant's saying, hey, I got somebody here to help you. Right? And that's at the end of the day is I'm trying to help as many people as possible. My new goal as of this month was trying a deal a day, hashtag a deal a day. So
nice.
It's not happening yet, but I'm working on it.
You're working on it. If a small business owner needs to get a hold of you, or if any business owner is interested in having you review their statements to see if you can save them money, what's the best way for them to contact you?
I would say by email or text me on my cell, and I would then send them my email. So my email is Housser, spelled HOUSSER, at Panda, just like the bear, pandapay.ca. So Housser, pandapay.ca. And my cell number is 905-358-1329.
All right. We'll have that at the end of this as well.
I've got a client I was working with this morning. He asked a couple of questions. Can we integrate? So we do integration now, which means that the machinery can integrate, the terminal can integrate with the registers. So we do integration with a program called Kumi for fast food restaurants or fast food service things, like where people going up, pay the bill, and then they're going to get their food delivered to them. We do integration with medical offices called Medics, and it's all cloud-based. so that their payments all streamlined right through automatically. You don't got to do double the work. If they punch it on the computer screen, it automatically goes to the till, and if it's $35, it'll say $35.
Right.
The person just taps and it sends the invoice. They can have the invoice sent to them by email or however they want, or they can have a copy printed out.
Yeah, I tell you, I go to this specific spa in town. I love them. They're amazing. And when they started being able to email me receipts, I was like, yes, because I write off my massage therapy and I write off, my chiropractor and stuff like that. And for them to just email me the receipt, now I can keep it in a file and I don't have to figure out how to file the paper because I'm terrible with paper.
So you don't have to go through all your purse. You don't have to go through your car. I'm like finding receipts in my car going, oh God, I didn't give that one to the accountant. Oh no, so I'm the same way.
That functionality alone.
I can go through emails. I love that part.
Love it.
The other good part of it is that, there's two ways to look at it. You get that paper slip, which is a nuisance, right? And the only reason you have to do the paper slip is because Revenue Canada hasn't come into the 21st century. It's so complicated system, right? But you get your Visa statement and it'll tell you the charge in there and you highlight it off. But then Revenue Canada will say, where's the slip?
Yeah.
And that's where if you get the email. So even all our new terminals that are coming out in 2021, we've got new terminals that actually allow you to enter the email, and then they'll send a slip to the client and it'll send a slip to your office. So
Brilliant. You need to be in Tim Hortons, Starbucks, like everywhere.
You know what makes me so excited? You can see me wiggling in my seat over here. Is like, it's not even just a payment thing. It is so a marketing thing that I love it. It's like, oh, you want a receipt? Let me get your email address. Boom, you're on my mail list. I love it. And now if I have a new product or if I have a change to my product, or if we have to pivot because of COVID, if Panda comes out with a new service, well, guess we have your email address. You will know, and you can tell 10,000 people in 5 seconds rather than having to go to every networking meeting again. I have to do all these video calls again and having to go do, this video show and hope that people come back and watch our video show again to get that information. No, we can deliver that information directly to their email. And that service alone, I know the payment's exciting and saving money is exciting, but being able to attack them, being able to attack them again, being able to connect with them again, to tell them the updates, to tell them new services, and tell them all the new things I might have to offer, and help them with all the new problems that I can be the solution for. That's so priceless. That is worth even more than the money you're going to save.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
That program we have in there on the terminals is called Business Coach. So it actually tracks every customer for you internally and that's your database. So you can then measure those analytics. You can then find out how often they come to you, how much they spend, where are they located, so you can target market specifically to that client base.
Oh, that's brilliant.
You got me very nervous right now, because then you can offer other products. Like if you find that you have mostly, here's an example, just the marketing side of me and geekiness coming out. But let's say you offer like woodworking products. I'm just gonna go way in the weird way over here to the woodworking side of things. You offer these woodworking products, but you find that 80% are women that are getting these woodworking products, or let's say it's gardening, and and 80% are women, and you're thinking, I can get a new product that can help women do whatever, and you can add it on and just send it to just the women.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it. Anyway.
In the company, that's a reasonable cost we put in. If people want it, they can have it. If they don't want it, we don't charge it to them, right? We let them try it free for anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
Nice.
And if I want it, it costs them $30 a month to maintain it. So,
well worth it.
Again, for you in the marketing department, that's thousands of dollars for people to have to get in and spend, and it's relatively inexpensive. The analytics on it.
Our world as a whole is turning to data is now a monetary item, right? So you look at companies like Tesla and Google and Amazon, and the data that they're collecting on what we purchase and how we move and the things that we do are making them multi-billion-dollar companies. Because the data is the value. It's not the electric car. It's the data of how people drive their cars, because then they can make it autonomous, right?
Yeah.
It's not the products that Amazon ships out. It's the data that's collected when they ship out those products that, give us the consumer insight to be able to market people directly. And that's the value of Amazon, and same with Google. So having that on a smaller scale in your small business, be able to have those analytics and to be able to have that data. It's so hard sometimes to keep a proper client database, and especially keep all the specifics. That is well worth the $30 a month. And I recommend to any business out there, if you're not tracking those things, and this system is just a fix for that, definitely worth transitioning over.
And you know what? I was going to say we're so much more than just a terminal or just an e-commerce account. We provide. We're a company that's out looking for people. Like we do financing. So if you had a siding company or window business or a landscaping company and you needed financing for your clients, we can help facilitate it. You don't even have to be a client with a machine. We'll just help facilitate that, set you up, and then if you need to offer a service to somebody else, you can use our financing. We bought the TD division of small lending, and the first time anybody ever bought a bank division. But we bought that division, and we do the financing up to $100,000 per project. So you could be an irrigation company and say, look, I got 10 projects on the go worth $40,000 each, and I need these people wanting to have monthly payment plans. We can finance it for you. You finish the job, they sign the deal, and it's an open loan. So they can pay it off when they get their tax money in, or a big COVID bonus or whatever is coming to them. They can do that, right? So,
right.
But yeah, we're more than just the terminal and the machine. We do more business stuff than that, so which is good. But it's all related to how to help that owner at the end of the day.
That's
fantastic. I really like that you added that, Tim, because I was going to say that there's only 3 ways that you can make money. That you can to increase your profit, and one is increase your prices. 2 is to cut down on your expenses and look at what your hard costs that you're already doing. And 3 is to streamline your processes. And data allows you to streamline processes. It gives you the information. Normally it costs us about 30. You can know how much it costs you to get a client. So for example, it cost me $30, $50 just to get a client. But if I can use the data that's coming from my existing clients, I can cut that cost down. I can cut it down to $20 to get that client, because I now know how they buy, how they move, how they interact, how they like to pay, how they talk to me. Are they talking by text? Are they talking by email? Are they talking by phone? How they're coming into me? When it comes to all so far, Panda Pay sounds like it does all of those things. It sounds like you can increase your prices in certain ways and increase your profit margin because when you understand more. You can cut the cost and expenses by paying attention to what your threshold is, when to move to the next product. Panda has the data collection and the features that can do that, but also it can help you with your cash flow, because when you have cash flow, you're going to be able to invest more, expand more, move on to the next client faster, etc. And I honestly, you've sold me. It's amazing.
Well, and being able to leverage your merchant services for business loans to keep that cash flow going is I'm not sure. Square can't do that. So
those companies, and there's nothing wrong with them. Don't get me wrong.
No.
Like Square, Type, and Shopify. But what people don't realize is when they use those services, they're paying hefty fees. Like Shopify has 3 or 4 different platforms. They start, if you want a Shopify account, you can pay anywhere from $50 to $100 just to have that account. They haven't even taken a fee off yet, right? So, and then if you want a bigger platform, they charge you more. And I think their account fees get up to around $300+ a month.
Wow.
And that's what people really need to say. I need to really have a conversation, because there's better avenues than that, right? And then, sometimes people have their websites and they're not planted, which is going to change pretty soon. Your website domain is going to have to be planted and owned in Canada in order to keep doing online business. That's a recommendation coming out from the government, right? So a lot of people are going to be scrambling to get stuff back in and not have those websites out of country.
You've been a complete wealth of information. We are so grateful to have you on our show for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You've given me lots of insight, got me excited about the marketing side of things, and I want to thank you.
I'm happy. That's all it takes. Wow.
Yeah, Angela's language is definitely marketing.
You know what? That's good for you, because if you've got clients out there, it's a good. How do you put it becomes a good collaboration between you and I and maybe one of your clients that takes credit card processing, right? Because you can say, look, there's something here that is a little bit better than what everybody else does. And it's not a piece they have to have. They can look at it and say, yeah, it makes sense. It helps. It's a win-win at the end of the day.
Yes, I agree. And Tim, we do really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing all this information with us. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
We look forward to having you again. Yeah.
If we come again, we'll have to have that conversation on electric cars and those fees and everything else. I mean, about gas cars and what they're not telling everybody, the consumers. So the people who think they're going green, there's a whole different revenue out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just the manufacturing of those cars isn't so green sometimes, right?
Yeah. But thanks, ladies, for having me. It was a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.